I was in the U.S. Navy. I trained in Mementos, Maryland, 1944 and 45. 1945, I went aboard the DMS Minesweeper, and I was on there for about 6 months, and I was transferred to the USS Houston. So after the war, we traveled all the Atlantic area, all the time, Sydney, Poland, Sweden, Denmark, everything. And then I got discharged in 1946. And I went into the Navy Reserve, not after, 4 years. So when Korea came upon, they called us back into the service. We had to finish our time. Well, I finished my time. In another 2 years I had ended. So I had four brothers and one sister in the service at one time. My mother had 6 in the service.
How many in the service did she have?
6.
6. Wow.
And they all came back alive.
Wow.
One of my brothers was blowing up. It was all burned in his body. Everything. And he had 23 blood transfusions.
Wow.
They flew him in from the Pacific to Pepsico
Florida.
at the Navy Hospital.
Uh-huh.
They pronounced him dead, the president. So,
Wow. It's
and I
amazing.
had my brother Ray, he was in the Navy. My brother John was in the cavalry at that time. He had a horse,
Wow.
cavalry at that time.
Wow.
So then I got discharged 1950.
1952?
Got discharged from here. I am. Got a nice family. 2 boys and a girl. 1 grandchild. No, 3 grandchildren.
Wow.
But we're here.
And, up in Laconia, New Hampshire, we had you gonna say something?
No.
No. Up in Laconia, New Hampshire, there was an outfit up there, National Guard, and it was an artillery outfit. And I kind of got talked into, I was going to high school at the time, and I kind of got talked into joining up, so I did. And there was one thing, we used to go down out on the Cape to do our maneuvers and like that in the summertime. And like I said, this was artillery, and I was on a big gun that they used to tow it either behind a 2.5-ton truck or what they call a prime mover, and had big tracks on it. And anyway, we had the guns. We had this outfit had 2 guns, and also they had what they have now, machine gun. It was a quad, what they call a quad 50, 4 machine guns, and a man sits inside and he operates all 4. Anyway, I always wanted to shoot that, but I never got to it. But anyway, I was a gunner on this 90mm gun. That's what it was. And we had them all lined up out on the Cape, way out on Wellfleet. And that's a nice area. It's very scenic, and just overlooks the ocean, endless. And we had the gun set up there, and the thing was, they tow a plane would tow a sleeve behind the plane, maybe, I don't know how far, half a mile maybe, I'm guessing. Anyway, they towed this sleeve, it was orange, and the idea was the gun was set up to, you know, aim at the sleeve. And, but they had old radar from World War II, and it wasn't working too well. And this one particular time, this is what I was going to get to, they were towing the sleeve, and we were firing out over the, to hit that sleeve, and next thing we knew, there was flak hitting all around the plane. And boy, we shut that right off, you know. And that plane, originally he towed the sleeve up and then he towed it back and forth like that. And after the flak started hitting around that plane, the plane took off and never came back. Anyway, that's a
Okay. Jack, my husband, was stationed, this was back in 1952. He was stationed aboard the USS Taconic, was the flagship with Rear Admiral Huffman, and Jack was one of the navigators. And the article was the Arctic log. They had, a number of ships had gone up to Greenland to maneuver, you know, for maneuvers. And they decided that the crew would have baseball games. Different ships would compete with each other, with their crew, and they called it the Top of the World Series. They ended up, well, what I want to tell you that was very important was that Lieutenant John Dempsey was broadcasting the games. And it was through the Navy, I wrote this down. It was called the, where did I write it? Oh, here we go. The Taconic Armed Forces radio station. It was NWEE, and it was rebroadcast to all the ships in the area. What was happening was the two cruise ships, the two teams from the two, I'm getting all mixed up here. The name of the two ships that competed for the finals was the USS Gordius and the USS Hahn. And the score was 8-1. But that was called the Top of the World Series. And my husband, Jack Dempsey, broadcasted that game. I was so proud of him when I heard about it. I was in Norfolk at the time, waiting for him to come back. That was in 1952. So I wanted you to know that he was a very important person in my life.
Thank you.
So I'll read his story right now by Edward Vigeno, Sergeant, U.S. Army, 96th Infantry, 1942-1945. I was in G Company, 2nd Division, 96th Infantry Division, during the major battles in Leyte, Philippines, and Okinawa, a Japanese island 350 miles south of the Japanese mainland. In October 1944, the 96th and 7th Divisions made the assault on Leyte, and spelled L-E-Y-T-E. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but bear with me.
Leyte.
Leyte? Okay. The Japanese troops made a vicious defense, but were eventually overcome. The battle ended on December 19th, 1944. Both the 96th and 7th Divisions suffered high casualties. G Company had 62 casualties, including 15 men killed. On April 1st, 1945, the 96th and 2 other Army and 3 Marine outfits charged ashore on the island of Okinawa. The Army, Navy, and Marines were part of the largest sea and land battle in the war against Japan. This battle against Okinawa was crucial for both Japan and the United States. The United States won, but the cost was heavy. All American units suffered grievously. The 96th, with its losses in Leyte and Okinawa, had a total of 17,222 casualties, including 4,647 men killed. They were the most casualties of any Army or Marine division in the war in the Pacific. G Company had 224 casualties, including 69 men killed. When G Company shipped out of San Francisco in March 1944, it had a total of only 168 men. Sergeant Edward F. McDonough, 96th Infantry Division, U.S. Army, September 1942, February 1945. Thank you, Ed, for sharing this. Thank you all for joining us and sharing your stories and your mementos. We appreciate the sacrifice.